Hello,
Hello.
everybody. Welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram. And today's video is a plan with me for the week of September 15th through the 21st using this collection from Paper Trail Plans called Cottagecore. I grabbed it in a HOLO, which was a surprise to me. Because when Jess sneaked this to the PR team, we didn't actually know what foil colors she was toying around with. Actually, most of the time, I don't think we find out until like maybe just before release day. So I was like, "Ooh, you got me a fall HOLO kit. I'm in. Whatever was here before is moved. It's moved." Um, and I grabbed the deco, I grabbed the florals, um, those two bundles, and the foil add-on, full boxes, and other standard weekly add-on things. And I also picked up the full sheet color wash. I believe this one's the second one they released for this collection. Because when Jess was talking about it in her flip through, like the kit reveal flip through, she talked about how this could have been used to highlight these houses that she had on here. And I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's not go with a traditional bottom washi, um, which it's not the first time I've done this. I did this before. And let's try the full sheet color wash. Let's see what happens when I do that. And it's it's actually like a little bit of like a weirdness in the head because since it takes so much space, you don't have to really do a lot of layering. So I was like, wait, what do I what do I do now? Where do I put all my layering? Right? I was like, where does everything go? Because you don't want to cover up too much of this kind of a color wash. A color wash that you use kind of as a background element makes sense to like cover up a lot of it. But for this one, I was just like, wait, where do I do all of my like what do I lay on top of this? Do I use foil accents? But like the foil accents, I don't want to use too much because it's hollow, so I want to be a little more subtle with the hollow. Um, so this base laydown went by surprisingly quick because I didn't have to do like a third of my work was already done with the full sheet color washes, a color wash here specifically. So it was a very mind-boggling experience, I guess is how I'll say it. Because I was like, wait, I'm done. That was really weird, especially since I just went with the floral trim, the washi floral trim up in the top. I was like, boom, done. I don't want to make it too complicated because of the full sheet color wash. And then down in the bottom, as you saw, I for the one half is the full sheet color wash. The other half is just this little scene that I made. I do have that fashion girl down there, but she will inevitably be replaced because she's the same one on the full box, and I'm like, let me use a different one because I have options. And you're gonna see me try to pull in that like taped piece of floral several times because I really like how it looks. I just couldn't figure out where to put the dang thing. um so I think it like hangs out on that clear backing for quite a while until I figure out what to actually do with it. And then for my center bridge, I originally had like the full box in the middle, and then I sat and I was like, wait, Kat, you don't like cutting the full boxes in when they're in the middle of in the middle of your spread. Let's revamp how we do this. So that's why we have this little scene here with the basket, bucket, not a basket, a bucket with the little kitty cat. Um, and I'm trying to figure out if I can pull in any of these quotes, these fall quotes. Because even though this is the week that contains the first day of fall, this collection itself still felt a little too summer for me to really be pulling in quotes about like leaves falling or I guess I could have pulled in like quotes with sweaters and stuff. That probably would have made sense. But hindsight's 2020. Here's me removing this fashion person because I wanted to use the full box that already had her, and I just don't like having too many repeating elements in my full boxes. So I ended up removing her just so that I could be able to use that full box because it's also the same orientation, I believe. Yeah, she's facing the same way. She's just a different size, and I was like, it's too many of the same element when I have options. So I might as well just go ahead and swap her out with a different one. Um, and I think this is my first. No, it's not my first time using their new premium mat. Well, it's not new anymore, but their most recent iteration of premium mats. I do find that not that they're difficult to pull up, but they do really like to stick to the backing. So if you when you're removing the stickers, you have to be really careful um with pulling them up from the original sheet, and just being careful, which is what I just said, because they will rip. They like to really adhere to it. But I do think that compared to other premium mats, it does appear that the stickers do look a little more vibrant. So I do like that. I'm not sure about the payoff between how adhesive it is to the color payoff. Probably good. But sometimes, like, if you're not anticipating how hard it is to pull that sticker, well, not how hard, but how much resistance you'll get, you're just like, whoa, what's going on here? Is it not cut? Like, what's going on? Um, so as you've noticed, I haven't really started working on my sidebar. Well, now I am, but I kind of did the rest of the spread. When normally how I work is like bottom washi or sidebar. Like those two are usually the elements I tackle first. And it's because I didn't really know what my sidebar was going to look like. I just know I wanted to use this little bow garland in the sidebar towards the top. That was the only thing I knew. So I kind of needed the rest of the spread to develop first, because I didn't want to overwhelm um, how the rest of the spread was coming out with a really packed sidebar. Like if the rest of the spread ended up having a lot of breathing room, um, I also wanted my sidebar to have a lot of white space, a lot of breathing room. Um, I also am now realizing, I probably realized it earlier while I was doing the spread, but I do not pull in any alcohol inks. No, I did not pull in any alcohol inks, which is probably what's contributing to the kind of airiness of this spread. Because I feel like with hollow foil, um, you can make it feel super punchy, or you can make it feel a little like you can make it feel light. It just depends on how you apply it to the page, right? If you put a ton of hollow foil in very concentrated areas, it's going to be a very punchy spread. It's going to be like, boom, I'm here. Like you can't miss it. But if you apply a light hand with hollow foil, um, it can make the whole thing feel like it's floating a little bit, which is what I think is part of the versatility of hollow foil. And again, I understand that hollow is not for everybody, um, but if I have an opportunity to use hollow foil, I'm going to do it. And as you've noticed, I did skip like 2 of the days, and I'm like, you know what, it's fine. I don't really need to, like, it does not all need to be in there. Like there's no reason for it to all be in there. I can figure out what the missing dates are. Um, so that's kind of it on the base. Again, like I said, trying to leave room because I think there's a lot of bright colors, so I wanted to just let this spread breathe a little bit. These boxes are also all patterned. Like, I didn't want to overwhelm it, right? I didn't really want to fill every corner like I normally did. And I really found myself fighting some of my tendencies um, to be like, oh, let me put some foil here. Let me put a little bit. Like, fortunately, I didn't have alcohol inks to be like, oh, let me just add a little bit of alcohol ink here. Like, it was good for me not to pull in the alcohol inks, and I that kind of forced me to let the spread breathe a little bit. So now we're on to the day by day. On Monday, we start with a coffee Monday. We did do a Costco run that night, and then we had some boba tea. On the 16th, on Tuesday, I was feeling super uncomfortable, like, in my body. Like, the pregnancy was really starting to, like, develop, I guess. You do end up feeling, they say you do end up feeling a lot more pregnant a lot earlier in your second pregnancy, and that is a very, very true. I don't know if I've said it before. I can't remember if I've just talked to other people about it. Like, I think by week, oh, did I already tell my coworkers? Yeah, hold on. Tell family. Tell family. Maybe I haven't told my coworkers yet. Where's 12 weeks? 12 weeks is soon. Um, but I was like, if you already knew I was pregnant by like 10 weeks, you could tell. You could tell. If you knew, you could tell I was pregnant. I had a bump. So I was feeling super uncomfortable in my body. I had some Happy Mail come in from Saucy Stickers, and then this last thing I don't want to talk about necessarily. On Wednesday, I was so tired again due to the pregnancy, and I just had a early bedtime. I just ended up going to sleep shortly after Bub went to sleep. I was like, I'm done checking out. Good night. Thursday, I am now caught up, right? Yes, I am. On Thursday, I started with a Dunkin' run. I was successful in finally using this piece of foil that I wanted to use. And then I did some voiceovers. What was really fun with this collection was that Jess had designed these fun frames. I think they're called the quirky frames. They're really fun. They're a very big statement piece. And again, that contributed to why I need to kind of like let this spread breathe a little bit, because there's a lot of elements and you kind of need to give your eyes somewhere to like take a break. um, so I did. I'm marking it a little bit out of order in my notes here. So Dunkin' Run, then we had Wendy's for dinner, and then I did some voiceovers that night. And to fill the gap, I'm just using some deco to like make a little somewhat cohesive scene. Sorry, you can't see that sticker. I guess I just was not paying attention to where I was. Oh, to where I was. I was like trying to figure out, when do I tell my coworkers about my pregnancy? It's Friday. Friday, I revealed to my coworkers that I was expecting my second child, and I was sorry for any grumpiness and any behaviors that felt a little bit out of line for the past like week or so. And they were like, okay, yeah, we thought something was up because you were both like more lax and more stressed about things that you're normally not. Like, you normally don't behave this way towards stuff. And then my two coworkers who sit directly behind me were like, yeah, you kept talking about like a doctor's appointment, but you didn't say like if it was like an annual or if it was like a bub. So we're like, what is going on with this doctor's appointment that you keep talking about? And of course, I was emotionally behaving differently due to the hormonal surges of pregnancy. So a lot of people figured something was up. A lot of people knew that I wanted to have a second kid. So it wasn't like a huge surprise to everybody at that point in time. They were like, okay, things make more sense now. How you've been behaving makes way more sense now. And actually from now on, you're not allowed to lift things. And I'm like, but I can. They're like, not good for pregnancy. So they've been watching me like a hawk. After that, I did some sticker shopping. Oh no, first I marked sticker shopping, then I marked telling my coworkers. And then Bub didn't have a nap, so he had an early bedtime. On Saturday, we did a Target run. We had our local Fun Fest, which is kind of like a street fair block party type deal, but like a bigger scale. And then we watched soapbox derby videos. He actually fell asleep because he also didn't take a nap this day. Soapbox derby videos surprisingly a lot more interesting than you thought they would be, or what you think they would be. On Sunday, which is actually the first day of fall. Oh no, the 22nd is the first day of fall. Silly me. Um, my mom took Bub for the day, and then it was a cleaning day because Bub wasn't home. So, um, this is that was my week. Nothing too eventful. Why is my framing so off? I am so sorry, guys. So that is the spread. I'm sorry you cannot see the bottom of it. My bad. You'll see it in the flyover. These are the kit leftovers. Plenty left. This really does give me like the clip art subject says fall, but the colors to me say like summer. So I thought this was a very fitting kit to use for that final week before the first day of fall, and that's probably when you'll see it again sometime next September, in some form of one of my planners. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love it if you gave the video a little like, leave a comment with any of your thoughts down below, and I would be so happy if you join my little channel by subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.